Welcome back, guys. And here we've got another fantastic interview. Now, I have to say, it was fantastic to meet this next guest. It was, I don't know how to describe it. All I can say was the passion that she holds, what she is doing, is absolutely unbelievable. And it completely blew me away the first time I spoke to her. And we've had several conversations since then. And every time I just learn more and more about what drives her. So it really is with great delight that I want to welcome Louise Campton.
Oh, hello, Richard. Thank you for that introduction.
Well, no. Thank you, and thank you for spending, sharing the time, because I appreciate that you are an incredibly busy and incredibly successful. I'm going to say, lady at the moment.
It's very busy, let's say it that way.
Do you want to tell everyone a bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so my name's Louise Campton and I run Primary Gold that I started 2 years ago. And the nature of the business is placing teachers' apprentices into schools to help teachers and learners use technology in the classroom.
Absolutely. Yeah. Whereabouts are you based, out of interest?
We're based in Coventry, and that's my hometown. So my own children are in schools in Coventry, so it's something I feel really passionate about in terms of getting it live there. But we are driving it forward as a franchise model into other areas now too.
Excellent. Wow. Watch out, everyone. Primary Gold coming to a town near you. My goodness.
That's the plan, Richard.
Absolutely. World domination next. World domination. Tell me what mentoring means to you.
Mentoring to me means a lot. So in terms of, I was an apprentice myself many moons ago, and I've always had a mentor. So whether that's someone, a colleague at work who's maybe a couple of stages ahead of us, or it could be a manager or someone that's a lot older and has been through the same kind of process as me. I think it's all about helping others to learn, understand, grow and develop, and build on their confidence and become the person that they want to be.
Absolutely. It's so true what you're saying. It's all about someone that's been there before and is showing you and guiding you.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely.
Tell me about your experiences as an apprentice. What did you do an apprenticeship in? Start there.
Okay, so many years ago when I was 19, I decided to take an apprenticeship, and in those days it was more kind of business and finance, that kind of thing. So that's what I did. And I was very fortunate to be based at what was called the what is now known as the SFA, so the SFA in terms of getting funding. So I did a 3-year apprenticeship, advanced apprenticeship there, and I learned all about apprenticeship programs. So whilst being an apprentice, I learned about other apprentices and how they can benefit from that experience. And I could have kind of progressed quite quickly in that business, but I decided I wanted to go and work for a training provider to really see what it's like to help the young people. So kind of not be telling a training provider what to do from a distance, but to actually do it myself, to feel their challenges and to see what it's like to nurture that young person. And that's what I did. So I trained as a careers advisor, which was where all my passion still is, really, is about kind of looking at every young person, regardless of their background in society or where they've come from, and looking at where they want to be and helping them to get there. And that's kind of been my journey throughout all of my career. I've ran academies and apprenticeship programs, and what I've always felt really, really passionate about is that they don't have the mentoring support that they need to have to be successful. So as an apprentice, when you place them into an environment, they might be lucky and they might have the best manager that you've ever had, but equally they might not have someone that really buys into the apprenticeship scheme, or perhaps they see that person as a threat to them, or whatever that the dynamics are. And it's really important for that young person, that apprentice, to have that mentoring to be able to go to the next level and to grow and to really sort of shape their future career. And that's what I feel passionate about. I believe the leaders of the future need that mentoring but behind them to allow them to grow and get there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's not necessarily I'm going to say it's not necessarily that manager's fault that they don't get apprenticeships, is it?
No, no, not at all. I think that, well, having been somebody that's recruited an apprentice, notoriously you're so stacked out with work, and you think, right, what we'll do is we'll get an admin apprentice in, or a finance apprentice, to help fill that gap. But then when they arrive through the door, they need that nurturing and they need that mentoring to help them grow and develop. But by nature, usually there's the manager. You're so busy, you haven't got that time to kind of guide them properly and to help them get there. So I mean, what we've done is, as part of our program, is to give a support help desk, which allows each of the apprentices time to spend with a mentor, either through kind of talking to them, or through reflective diaries and different things like that. So they develop strategies that helps them to learn and grow, both independently and then as part of a team, really.
Absolutely, it's so true. It's so true. Now, one of the things that we'll talk about is how hard it is for a manager to be a mentor, and how actually it's possible that it could do with someone else. Does that fit in with kind of your views on the support apprentices need?
Yes, I think so. I mean, an apprentice needs, in my opinion, someone that's not too far removed from their own experience. So the manager should be, obviously, the manager, and should be leading that team, but then there will be somebody closer to them in that team that can hopefully guide them and shape them towards where they want to be. I mean, when I talk about my business, it's often about teaching. So we have the youngsters coming through that are going into IT roles, and quite often it's the higher teaching assistants, which is a perfect role model for them, because they've been in schools in a couple of years and they've developed that communication. They're a bit more confident, and they're able to take them under their wing and kind of support them, really. Whereas the manager has got the pressures of a million other things going on, which is maybe in a different place, but they want the apprentice so much to grow and develop and get to where they need to be, but they might just be too busy to be able to do that.
It's so true. It's so true, and something that we see all the time in our work.
Yeah, in our business we see it all the time. You've got a busy head teacher who desperately wants to impart their knowledge and guidance on those younger people, but it's priorities. We've got business objectives that we have to meet, and you're running around trying to achieve them, and you want so desperately to help these young people, and these these fresh faces that are coming through the system, to help them get to where you are in life, because you can see that that's a whole career and it's exciting for them. But how do they get there? And there has to be a way that we mentor them throughout their experience, through a variety of different people, through qualifications, through reflective practice, through all of those different mechanisms, to help them to become a really well-rounded individual.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you're proposing, as part of your, I'm going to say, as part of your national rollout, that
Yes.
for every apprentice that you place, you're proposing that actually you're going to be training a workplace mentor for them. What do you think is going to be the impact of that?
Well, I'm hoping it's going to be enormous, Richard. I think it's everything that is missing from the system at the moment. If you look at kind of training providers, by nature it's all target driven. It's about how many people can you get on a certain program through the door to get them. And I also understand that, because at the end of the day we all have to make a living, and it's about a business. But I do believe there's a balance that can be achieved, and to be able to get the right people and to keep them on program, to keep them driven and passionate about their subject, to keep them inspired and active. It's all about giving them that mentoring and that time to kind of learn from others, and to be inspired, and to grow, and to think, actually I can do anything that I want to in this world. Nothing is outside of what I can get to. And I'm a typical example of that. Came from a background that shouldn't have achieved. Certainly a director of a company now, which is hopefully going on to be very successful. There's people perceive there to be barriers, and there are no barriers. We just have to navigate the way around them. And I always say to my young people, certainly when I was a careers advisor, is there's so many different ways to get to your destination. You know, you might have to jump on the M6 to get to somewhere, but, you know, maybe that's not an option, and maybe you have to go down the A road. It's going to take you a lot longer to get there, but you'll still reach that destination. And that's something I feel really, really passionate about. You know, that nobody in this world is unable to achieve what they want if they put their mind to it and they have the right mentoring and the right support.
Absolutely. So is there a particular mentor that's influenced you?
There's been several, to be fair. In my young days, my auntie worked quite a senior level operational manager for the SFA that is now. So I always used to watch her, and at the time, you know, she was a busy businesswoman. She juggled her family. She always inspired me, and I thought, you know, that's how I want to be when I grow up. And then I guess over the years, as I've grown in my own kind of job roles, I've always looked to someone slightly ahead of me and in that same area. There's one particular mentor, and his name's Neil Martin, and he was an IT director with Pearson, and he helped me. I had a transition where I was promoted from a kind of quite a senior role in a smaller business to a really senior role in a very large business, and he helped me to really shape myself to be able to meet the expectations of senior management in these big corporate companies, and he helped me to grow so much. But I would say the biggest impact is starting my own business as a director, and the learning that I've had to go through on this journey of the last 2 years with the help of mentors and support people that are around to help, thankfully, small businesses on this journey has been incredible. So that's really, for me, where the big emphasis has come on mentoring. I could not have done without it, and I will always need someone to mentor me.
Absolutely. And am I right? You just recently secured an investment in order to help you to scale up what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited. So it was a 2-year delivery, research and development, basically going out and finding out what schools wanted, how to implement the model that we had. And we saw such a huge gap to help teachers to place this young person, this apprentice that was going to work in the schools, to help all of those teachers and learners use technology. So it was a great opportunity, and it was trying to find an investor that would support that vision and not see it as just numbers either, which is quite a difficult thing because I'm so passionate and a redhead. So I will fight for what I really want to achieve from this business because it's my whole livelihood. So I see it that it's all about the growth of that person. It's about quality. It's about spending time with them. And I see my business as an apprentice family, a family of apprentices. And from the minute they come into primary goal world, we support them and mentor them through various different mechanisms to get to where they want to be. And then we don't just say at the end of the apprenticeship, it's over. We careers, guidance, and give them the help and advice they need to grow to the next level. So it's a continual exercise. So I would like to see that these apprentices still in their 50s are receiving support from these places.
Oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And do you see any, I'm going to say, common themes or things that crop up frequently when you're mentoring or supporting apprentices?
I think confidence is huge, and I think if you don't have the right person that nurtures you at a young age and builds your confidence and helps you to feel that you're important, that you're bringing something to that job role, then the results can be quite different. And there's a perfect example of that, and I won't say names here, but one of my apprentices had worked in a school, and he'd struggled a little bit, and he hadn't got the praise that he'd wanted, and you know, the feedback wasn't great. So we placed him into a different school, and he's absolutely just, people are wowed by him completely. And it's because he is getting the praise and recognition that he needed to make him feel that he wanted to get out of bed every morning and go to work and do a great job and help those learners. So to me, it's about looking at the surroundings of each of those apprentices. What is their support network? And what our program offers is almost like a kind of online virtual support mechanism where if they're an apprentice in there and they need pastoral support or mentoring support or curriculum support, they can come through and they feel they have that. So although, you know, their mentor in the workplace might be busy, they've still got somewhere else that they can go to, and they feel that they're part of that kind of little family, like I say.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, thank you for that. Thank you. And just to end on, what do you think the future of mentoring is?
I think it will be a virtual environment, and I think, and this is what we're sort of tapping into now, because what we're trying to do is get the message that everyone needs a mentor of some description, and that can be in so many different ways. Richard, you know, my daughter, who's just helped me to set up this video today, is so more switched on with technology than what I am, and they're always continually looking at YouTube videos and educating themselves through technology and different forms of that. So I think there's a real role for a virtual mentoring scheme, but I think there'll never ever be a replacement for face-to-face mentoring either. And I think that blended learning approach, which is what they're saying now, the 70-30 split, is absolutely perfect. That if we could get that balance into the mentoring world and kind of really encourage people to support our apprentices, and that it's growing our future economy to fill the skills gaps and all the rest of it, and get those more experienced to back those apprentices and to support them from behind, then that's the answer really. And all of that experience and knowledge and understanding that's in people like us that are getting to those sort of last 20 odd years in their career are sharing that and allowing our youth to grow and develop and use that in their future careers. And I think that's what's key really.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so very much. Now, if anyone wants to find out more about you, if they want to get in touch, how do they get hold of you?
My website is www.primarygoal.ac.uk. I'm also on LinkedIn. If you put Louise Campton and Director of Primary Goal, I'm always accessible there. So just drop me a line, no problem at all.
Excellent. Louise, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.